Yes, indeed, folks, you're listening to Blue Please right here on CynicalBrit.com with myself, Total Biscuit. Yes, right. Well, couple of things I need to say. First thing is first, folks. Trollface.jpg is currently recruiting, by the way, for raid divisions. You might have noticed in a lot of guilds, pretty much entire realms, have got quieter and quieter. For various reasons. We've got some raid divisions going. They're looking to start a few 25-man raid divisions if you're interested in getting involved in that. By all means, we are now taking all races and all classes for 25-man only. 10-man is still troll only, but 25-man we are allowing that. It turns out that they've balanced it in such a way that in 10-man you can get away with it. You don't have to have a paladin, but you have to have paladins. Oh god. You have to have paladins in 25-man. It is impossible to do without it, but there you go. So, if you're looking to get recruited into that, and you've been stopped before because you were a paladin, not a troll or whatever, you're allowed in, we are allowing you in, we are being the generous nation of trolls, folks. We are allowing the refugees into our great troll nation, and no doubt eventually you will be convinced to become a troll and join the master race. Also, thanks to Rock Paper Shotgun for featuring my Section 8 video today. Very much appreciated. If you guys haven't already checked them out, you should go do that. Go do it right now, in fact. RockPaperShotgun.com, the best PC gaming website on the goddamn internet. True dat, and they should be featuring my videos every Saturday, assuming that it all goes down well, and it certainly seemed to. Nobody really seemed to bitch about it, so that's actually a first for the internet. There you go. Right, so lots more Blizzard stuff coming in. Many more Blizzard things coming in. More specifically, the Ask the Devs. Ask the Devs is an interesting concept. Interesting topic. We likes it. Want to check it out? So we're going to read out this one, and this will probably take the rest of the show, I would think. You know what happens when we get these Q&As every now and again? Incidentally, I'm sorry, I've still got a bit of a cold, so if I sound a little bit nasal, that's why. Right. Are we ready for Ask the Devs? If you wish to read along, I will have this link posted in the IRC channel for you. It will also be in the show notes over on CynicalBrit.com for the archive. Okay. Are we ready to get started? Certainly hope so. And no, I probably didn't crash Rock Paper Shotgun. That seems fairly unlikely. Rock Paper Shotgun should be able to take that kind of thing. They have a lot of views, folks. A lot of views. Many views left side. Right. Here we go. So the Ask the Devs feature, as I said before, allows the submission of questions and the voting on of said questions. The highest voted questions will get asked. So, let's have a look, shall we? The first question, right here. Will updated textures be applied to the vanilla and TBC races in the future to coincide with the new Goblin and Worgen textures? The answer to that is the art team very much wants to update the older races. We feel like it's something we owe the game and the players. We're just looking for the right time to dive into that enormous task without taking too much time away from new creatures or armor. I have to wonder how much time they really dedicate to putting in pointless crap. I'm just thinking. Like, vanity pets, and new mounts, and stuff for the Blizzard store. Maybe if they took away time from that, they could maybe find time for it. Or maybe they could use the delay of the Firelands in order to fit in some extra time. Alright, whatever the case, it is good. It is good that they're improving the texture work on that, and yeah, people are very, very sensitive when it comes to changes, as Nethera goes on to say, and I do not blame them at all for that. They're quite attached to the look of their character. Indeed, if they ruin the way my troll looks, I'll be very, very upset by that, but it should be easy enough to at least just improve the polygon count. I mean, that's really what is required, more so than anything. It's the lack of detail. You can keep the same overall look. You can just detail it up. I mean, for instance, when you've got a nasty flat texture on the face of a troll, you can give it a little bit of... just give it a little bit of texture, give it a little bit of shape, give it a little bit of flavour. Don't change the shape of the face or anything like that. I don't think there's any need for that, but still. You know, there are things that could very easily be done, and I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't do that for Cataclysm. I wonder how mammoth a task that must actually be. I mean, you wouldn't think that it would be that bad, but then again, you've got all of the hairstyles and all of the other little things you can put on, like the tusks, the different kinds of tusks, the different kinds of face paint, earrings, all sorts of stuff. Ear types. So, I suppose it would take quite some time, but still, it is kind of long overdue, really. And it was bad enough when Draenei and Blood Elves came into the game. It was made obvious at that point that the texture work on those was better. And then, of course, we got into this expansion where we've got even better stuff that's now 4 years on from that. So, yeah, I think our characters could use a little bit of a touch-up. Question comes in here from Atreides, who says, are there any plans to update Outland and TBC zones to facilitate better level flow? We think the flow of the zones works out well. You're wrong! It is true that you can finish the continents before hitting every zone because of the accelerated quest experience, further enhanced by mechanics such as heirlooms, but most players going back through the content on new characters seem perfectly happy to get through it faster than they did with their original character. What we don't like is the strange way you go back in time when you go to the Outlands and Northrend and then back to the future, heh, when you go to level 80, 85, and that's definitely something we want to fix. Yeah. Quite. However, the thing is that the quality of the content is lower. I mean, less so in Wrath, but TBC is really, really showing its age. Really showing its age. Like, the questing content in TBC is now the worst in the entire game. One of the things that I've said 1,000 times about Wrath, one of the things it got right is the questing content. It was good. It was very good. It had good themes to it. The questing content in TBC, it was okay because it was such an otherworldly kind of area. Such an otherworldly area. However, once you've been through that otherworldly area once, and you have to level through it again with an alt, and bear in mind that this game really wants you to roll alts, it would absolutely adore for you to do just that. It's put in so many things to make you do it, and of course, why not? Rolling alts, playing the game over again, is what keeps people subbed. So it's a logical thing to do, and also, a lot of people are altaholics, they like to roll alts, and what's wrong with that? Hopefully people that are altaholics learn an awful lot more about the game. Whatever the case, TBC questing content is weak sauce right now. It is really, really bad. It is very generic. Most of it, honestly, is on the level of old vanilla, just in a better-looking area. And some of the quest chains are better, certainly, than old vanilla. There was certainly some improvements. I mean, they learned some lessons from Silithus, for instance. But still, it's nowhere near as good as Wrath, and it's certainly nowhere near as good as Cataclysm. Now, to me, that I would not level up an alt as a result of that. I would maybe get one to 60 and that would be it. Why would I bother? Just why? Because I know for a fact that I'm going to have to go back into TBC content, and it's going to be horrible, even with the accelerated leveling. I don't think accelerated leveling is the answer. Either you give people a way to completely skip it entirely, or you do some major remodeling on those areas, because a lot of people have to go through that. Loads of people. For example, anyone that rolls a Death Knight has to go through TBC content. And then, of course, anyone that rolls an alt that wants to get it past 60, or indeed 58, has to go through TBC content. They are forced to do so. So, I don't know why that's not considered important. Now, this is kind of answered in the next question, which is, will there be new quests in a renewal of Outlands and Northrend? Because we did those areas more recently than Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor, we don't feel the same urgency to go and update them. They just don't have the level design and quest flow problems to the same extent as the original content. I beg to differ, at least in terms of TBC. We recognise, though, that some players are getting awfully tired of Hellfire Peninsula and would like to come up with a good solution there. Well, yeah, the good solution would be to remodel the content in some way, or allow you to skip it entirely. I was very confused that they didn't do that, actually. That was one of the big problems I have with Cataclysm. It's like, well, why? You've renewed all of this stuff, and you know there's this massive, huge problem, and you've done nothing about it. Now, I understand that redoing the entire goddamn game takes a lot of time and a lot of work, but seriously, it comes back to the fact that Blizzard is making X bazillion dollars a month, and I'm sure they could actually get some people in for that. People are clamoring to work at Blizzard, for God's sake, and yes, talented people as well. So, I don't really know why they just left it the way that it was, but it's clearly an unacceptable situation, and it's keeping people from going back there, because the people that might roll alts that otherwise wouldn't have, because the questing content is much better from 1 to 60, are not going to persist with those alts once they hit 60, which they will do in about a day. Therein lies the problem with this experience. As good as it is and as tight as it is, it has significant problems in terms of pacing. I wish it didn't, but it does. Onward! We don't care about that. We're not going to be talking about anything class-specific, like Mastery Rating is becoming the most important attribute for Death Knight tanks. I don't care, you can read that yourself. I have no commentary to make on that. I'm only reading questions that I actually have some commentary. What is your favourite escape and distraction? No, we don't care about that, that's dumb. Will we ever see a feature like the Appearance tab? Some way to make use of all the different equipment art for items we already have without having to give up stats in order to do so. If not, then why not? Having more ways to customize the appearance of their character is something players often ask for and is something we'd love to improve. Seriously, we hear you loud and clear on this. We do have some ideas we're discussing, but we're not ready to share them quite yet. Our concerns have always been making sure that the character art still maintains a level of quality, even if extensively customized, and making sure that character silhouettes are easily recognizable. Those aren't show-stopping concerns that would prevent us from ever taking the plunge, but they are concerns. Is that a PvP concern? That sounds like it is. It actually reminds me of Global Agenda. I don't know if you've heard of that game. It's actually kind of alright, but it has a lot of problems. When they were first developing that game, they had this idea of character silhouettes where you can easily identify a class based on the shape and the colour. Now, I assume this has got to be a PvP thing. It must be, because it doesn't matter in any other context. My god, but stop balancing the game around PvP. I hate that. I'm sorry, I'm not a PvPer, and while I understand that PvP is a valid way of play, I hate it when PvE, and to this get everything else, you know, who would object? I would like to know, who would not want that feature? Who? That would be nobody, I don't think. I can't think of a single valid reason why anyone would not want that feature. It would be very, very awesome for me to be able to go back and wear my Tier 4, for instance, because I think that's a wonderful set, and I would like to look like I'm wearing Tier 4. And there are plenty of other games that have perfect solutions to this. You collect styles, yeah? In DC Universe Online, and there are other games that do the same thing. DC Universe is a good example because you collect styles, and those styles are collected by grabbing a piece of gear that uses that style. So WoW does this as well. I mean, there's like 17 different items. You know that horned helmet from Wrath of the Lich King? You must remember that one. There's so many items that look like that. There's like 17 or something like that. That could be called the horned helmet style. Or indeed it could be a set. And I know they've been trying to sort of keep sets more uniform lately, so I assume there are sets of items that are all designed in the same kind of way. So those sets should become available in a style tab, and then of course you can switch them on at your leisure. And if you want to look like Skittles Troll, you can look like Skittles Troll. If you want to look like some guy out of Tier 1 content, in Arcanist, I don't know why you would, but hey, there you go. Or Recolored Arcanist, oh my god, yes, Recolored Arcanist. Ooh, yeah, Are you feeling it? I'm not. Whatever. Arcanist belt. Oh, jeez. So, if you want to be able to do that, I don't see why not. And then, of course, recoloring. I don't know how difficult it would be to really do that. There'd probably be an awful lot of implementation involved, but I would like to be able to dye parts of my gear. That would be nice. A lot of other games have managed to pull this off. I don't see why WoW can't, really. Why couldn't it? What's the reason? Give me the reason why it cannot do something like that. There isn't one. That's the point. There is no reason. No reason at all. Let's continue, shall we? Are there any plans to bring new items into archaeology? What a stupid question. They said this over and over again in the beta when they were explaining archaeology. Oh, it's a modular system. We can very easily add to it. Will there be more items? Oh god, I don't know. Will there be? What a mystery. Thankfully, I am indeed Inspector Bloody Gadget. Doo-doo. Dum-ba-dum-ba-dum. And I will tell you the answer. And I will do it in the form of the Inspector Gadget theme song. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum-bum-bum. We may not make it in every patch, but we designed archaeology specifically with this kind of expandability in mind. Our most immediate plans are to add rare items to the Vrykul land, especially troll races since they have so few, and add more to fossils in general since you end up with so many fossil sites. We also have some plans to make it slightly easier to focus on races. Upon which you want to focus. If you actually understood any of that, I'd be very surprised. But whatever the case, duh! Of course there are going to be more items. Why would there not be? What a dumb question. Next one. Will the devs consider giving us a reason to interact in the new world of Cataclysm? We sit in cities waiting on queues. There's little reason to leave the city gates outside of farming and archaeology. The main cities feel alive. The world, however, feels quite dead. While you're leveling up characters and gathering professions, this is the answer, you're more than likely interacting with the world plenty. World of Warcraft's endgame is centered on dungeons, raids, battlegrounds, and arenas for some time, so it's natural that you spend more time in cities organizing, preparing for those kind of group-based events. We do think that there is more we could do to promote compelling solo gameplay for max-level characters, though. The 4.2 patch has some pretty epic questing experiences involving the Firelands. We're really excited to see how people respond to that. Pretty epic questing experiences, by this you mean dailies. That's the problem, isn't it? We don't care about dailies. You need some compelling content. If you're gonna steal something, steal it from Rift, for God's sake. Rift stole from you, you might as well steal back. The whole idea of the invasions. Something like that. If you want to get people out in the world, you need dynamic content that actually changes. If you don't have that, then you have no reason to leave a city. Daily quests will not get you to leave a city all that much. Most of us don't care about dailies, and I don't blame it, because I play the game. I play a game, not a job. I don't want to go and do repetitive, grindy stuff, because that's not fun, and it's a waste of my time. My name is Total Biscuit, you're listening to Blue Please right here on CynicalBrit.com. Yes. What can I play for you? Oh, so many wonderful, wonderful things. I think some scar symmetry might be on the cards, however. Q. Could we do that one? Let's put on Pitch Black Progress. Yeah, calculate the apocalypse. We'll be right back after this, folks. We'll go through some more Q&A, and then, of course, we'll do the illusion of choice. Enjoy.